Hey everybody, it's been a while since I bought me a parts scrap eMachine from the Computer Works store. I got this one for $14.99, which isn't too bad. And of course this machine had the Bestec ATX-250-12E power supply, and of course it is dead. And so is the motherboard out of the machine. This power supply burnt out so bad that it actually blew one of the capacitors off the board inside of it. This isn't the first time where I've seen this happen. I guess a 5-volt standby really shot high on this unit, which I'll be opening this unit up here in a few minutes. Here is the machine now. I've replaced the power supply and the motherboard. This is another Intel D845 GVSR board, but this is not an eMachine board. This is a stock Intel board with the Intel BIOS. It has a Pentium 4 HT 2.8 gig. I'm not sure if it's hyper-threading or not, but it's a 2.8 gig Prescott CPU, socket 478, and I got 512 megabytes of memory on it. And I got an 80 gigabyte hard drive in it. Of course, when you get these things from the Computer Works store, they don't come with hard drives, and sometimes they don't come with memory. This one didn't have any RAM in it. But that's all it took to make this a working machine again. All I gotta do is install Windows on it, and it'll be ready to go. It's a real shame how the Bestec power supplies take out these motherboards. I mean, this motherboard looks like it's in good condition. I mean, when you're just having a look at it, you would think that there's nothing wrong with this board. It's a real shame. Have a look here. There's no bad capacitors on this motherboard. None. Nowhere. And the CPU VRM still works fine because the heatsink got hot when I powered on this machine. But there was something wrong with this board. I mean, obviously when you go to turn it on, it won't turn on by itself. For instance, I had it in the machine still, had a working power supply plugged up to it, and when I pressed the power button on the machine, it didn't do anything. But what I did was I took a jumper with the power supply installed, and I jumpered the leads, the green and black leads on the power supply, to force it to come on. And when that happened, the machine still didn't start. I mean, it turned on and spun the fans, and it lit up a red LED at the bottom of the board. I mean, it's a real shame this board no longer works. I'll be decapping it, getting the good capacitors off of it, and I'll be putting this board up on the eMachines motherboard wall of shame, along with the rest of these boards. I've already got a pretty good population over there. I have, let's see, I have 1, 2, and I have at least 2 Intel D845 GVSRs already up there, as it is. Actually 3. I see 3 up there, because I take the heat sinks off of them. Sometimes I have, let's see, one here which has back capacitors, another one here which has a back capacitor on, of course, probably the circuit that supplies power to the chipset, and another one in which I've already decapped and removed the heatsink. So I have 4 boards. There's another one above that I have already decapped. So I have 4 D845 GVSRs up there that come out of eMachines. They're all dead, along with 2 Tri-Gem Imperials. One is completely dead. The other, only certain features work on it. The USB and audio don't work. I have 2 MSI MS7207s. Those don't work for some reason. However, these boards weren't killed by the Bestec power supply because these had the ATX-300 units in them. Those don't have the 5-volt standby rail flaw. I have one other MSI board. It is a socket A462. It is a KM4M. That's what I'm seeing on here, and it actually has the MSI logo on it, surprisingly. And I know I had two of these particular boards here. I don't know what happened to the other one. I must have threw it away, but anyways. This is a ECS L7V MM2. Maybe I only have one of these, I don't know. It's been a while. I have two FIC AM37s. These are socket A boards. They're both dead. And of course, I will have 5 Intel D845 GVSRs up there here shortly. Let's go and open up the power supply. Look at there. Notice that burnt spot on the board. Give me a closer look here. This is not too good at all. Not very good at all. This thing has been very hot. Very, very hot. And also we have another bad capacitor right here. And one of the capacitors have blown completely off the board. It's somewhere inside this case. It's a matter of finding it. Now, I've already seen it one time. It was completely melted. But that thing there definitely suffered really bad. And of course it's a 5-volt standby circuit. Really, really sad. Now, just so you know, the Bestec ATX-250-12Es and other 300 watt models, and I believe the 250-12Es don't suffer from this nearly as bad as this does. Matter of fact, I think the 250-12Z and the 300 watt units had this problem fixed. It's really sad though. Anyways, if you had any questions or comments, please feel free to ask.